So in the last 10 years, there's one rule that I followed that helped me become an 8-figure entrepreneur. Now, I didn't just scale one 8-figure company. I've done it multiple times at this point in my career. And I feel like if I only did it once, I shouldn't be making this video, because you never know. Maybe that one experience was luck, or there was uniqueness, or there was this one person. And I think at this point, considering I've done it multiple times, it's safe to say I can confidently make this video for you. Now, I'm not gonna make you wait till the end of the video for me to share the rule. I'll share it here in a moment, but before I do, I just wanna let you know the context behind this rule. And when I say rule, this is not like every day you must do 5 push-ups and lock in and do a cold plunge. That's not what I necessarily believe is productive, or what I believe truly helped me build the businesses that I have today with the organizations and the team members that I have today. But what this rule is this thing and this quote that just kept repeating in the back of my head probably once every hour, or any time a crucial moment throughout the day occurred where I was either going to move my business forward or do something that was very self-serving or self-sabotaging. This is the quote, this is the rule that kind of just rang in the back of my mind that helped me always choose what was good and productive for other individuals and for my organization versus myself. Okay, so without further ado, here's what the rule is. The discomfort that you feel in doing what you're supposed to do today pales in comparison to the pain of regret you'll feel later on by not having done what you're supposed to do. And that rule, my friends, is what absolutely changed my life and helped me scale the organizations and the businesses that I have today. So how did this rule help me scale multiple 8-figure companies? And how can it help you scale even a 7-figure company? Well, the real meaning of the quote, and if you look at it at face value, pretty much says that there's discomfort that you're going to face at every turn in every process of you scaling your company. And I believe that as you start a business, or if you're ever interested in starting one, there's going to be different stages that you're going to experience discomfort. And the rule pretty much says the faster and the smarter you address these discomforts, the better and more efficiently you're going to scale your business quicker. That's why my first 8-figure business came when I was 23, 24 years old, which was a real estate investment firm. And again, not to pat myself on the back or come across as arrogant, hopefully not, but I've met a lot of individuals who spend their whole lives and they can't scale even a 7-figure business. So all that being said, I want to share with you kind of my personal journey on how this rule completely transformed my limiting beliefs. Because when you're just starting, especially for 99% of entrepreneurs, you don't know what you need to do, or you don't know what you don't know. And that's not an action problem, it's a knowledge problem. And the issue that most entrepreneurs have when they first start out is that they do what they think is the best thing, and because everyone thinks it's an action problem versus what it really is, which is a knowledge problem, they try to do as much of what they think they should do, and because of it, they waste a lot of time, money, and energy. And a lot of that might be like watching random videos on YouTube, or listening to podcasts, or doing cold plunges, or whatever that might be, or spending 3 hours working out. And all that's great, right? All that's helping you become a better person, but it's not helping you become a better entrepreneur. And I'm also not saying that learning or diving into YouTube videos, podcasts, and books are bad. They're awesome things to do. But what I'm super thankful that at least I did in my journey that I felt like gave me an advantage over 99% of other entrepreneurs trying to do what I was doing and trying to achieve the goals that I was trying to achieve. I wasn't afraid to ask people already in the industry that were super successful at what they did for advice on what I should be learning. Because then what allowed me to do is then allocate and take and channel all that time and energy in going through all the books, podcasts, YouTube videos, whatever, towards something that I knew was efficiently, keyword, efficiently pushing me forward. But here's where the number one rule comes into play, because for most of you, if not all of you, I know it was for me, you're going to feel that discomfort and hesitation in asking the successful people for advice. I know because I had countless people tell me, oh, but Daniel, I don't want to bother you, or I don't want to be the guy that's coming across as thirsty. And by the way, I guarantee you that successful people, including myself, are more impressed with someone who's relentlessly hustling and having the balls to ask for advice and guidance than you trying to not come across as thirsty. As in, I've literally told people in the past that they're more than welcome to reach out, ask any questions. Hey, if you want to grab lunch, fantastic. And then they're all like, oh, yeah, thanks, man. but then I don't hear from them for like months. But then again, that's 99% of people, and why the number one rule is the number one rule. Now, this is what leads us to the next stage, which is when you finally decide what business you want to start. Now, this for me was the hardest self-limiting belief / mindset thing that I've had to overcome. But again, thankfully, this rule came really, really in handy. Now, on a side note, if you guys want a technical step-by-step process on how I scaled multiple 7-figure companies, 8-figure companies, whatever you want to call it, I'm gonna leave the link and the access to that video in the description below, but I'm also going to tag it at the end so that you can just watch it right after this, because this video is more so addressing kind of just the mentality and the limiting beliefs and the things that I had to do that really, really helped transform the mind, which I think is actually even more important. Okay, so here's the next discomfort, the next limiting belief, whatever you want to call it, that I really had to overcome, right? And the next thing for me was just being super shy and telling people about my business and selling, especially to my friends and family, because I didn't want them knowing anything I did, let alone sell them anything until I became successful. And for some reason, I had this misconception and this limiting belief that if they knew what I was doing, or they knew that I'd started a business, that they would look down on me, or that I would come across as a try-hard, or for some reason, I don't know why, that it would just make things weird in our relationship. So here's the solution that I came up with that really helped me out, that really kind of reshaped the way I thought about it. And it all revolved around redefining my perspective on the word sales. Because I realized that at the core of it, what I was afraid of and who I didn't want to be was that stereotypical super high pressure car salesperson that focused more on trying to get me in a corner and make a sale than someone who actually helped me accomplish my goals, right? So I knew how I felt in past experiences with stuff like that, where someone would try to hard sell me, and I didn't want to do that with people in my personal network. So ultimately, that's kind of what led me to be afraid and not want to tell people about my business and be passionate and be vocal about my mission and what I wanted to do, because I was passionate, and I think a lot of people are, especially when they sell their business. They get really excited and they want people to follow their Instagrams and all this stuff, but there's still a little bit of a hesitation there. And I think hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about. Now, the traditional definition on sales would be persuading someone to get them to say yes and buy your product. And I'd say that's probably the definition that 90% of you guys watching this video have. And the redefinition that I came up with that helped me overcome this discomfort, whatever you want to call it, was instead of selling, create a product and service that's so good that it makes people want to buy. And for me, like, that was a game-changing moment, because I want people to feel like they want to buy. Like, I want to create that. I want to create something, a solution to a problem where people want it more than something that I have to push in people's faces. Now, how did this play out practically, right? Like, how did I actually do it? Now, the way I did it was a lot more simple than what people make it out to be, and I feel like that's the case 99% of the time. And it unfortunately took me years to get this, but the solution for me was to figure out who my ideal customers actually were and just have them complain. And let's be real, you don't really have to do much for that to happen. Now, the reason why I say find your ideal customers, because I feel like when you first start your business, and maybe this is where you're at right now, where you're kind of okay with everyone and anyone buying your product. Because at the end of the day, you just want sales. You want this thing to take off. And one of the things I wish I told my 21-year-old self, 22-year-old self, that was super frustrated at why things weren't moving fast enough, is that by focusing on your smaller niche, like almost think about the one person that you want to sell this product to, not the 1,000 people, not even just the 100 people, just the one person that is the most best fit for your product or service, and finding out ways to adhere and to cater almost to that individual. If you focus that much smaller on your niche, I guarantee you your sales will actually be much faster, because the individuals that are kind of just the anyone and everyone buying your product are most likely your friends and family that just want to support you. But guess what? They're not your efficient and self-sustaining customer. You want individuals that come back every week, every month, every year. And that's how a real business is built, is when you have reoccurring business. Now, this is where the rule really comes into play, because there's going to be a lot of discomfort, especially initially, in talking to people about your business and asking them questions about what they want, right? Because again, we don't want to be intrusive or invasive, or we don't want to take people's time, right? And for me, I tell, whether it's our coaching clients, whether it's people that I'm just helping out with their business, that I guarantee you, if you just slow down and just take 30 days or 60 days to really figure out what people want and ask questions and just listen, I guarantee you it'll be worth the next 30 years. Because in order to really figure out what people want, you just have to listen to them on what they have, and more so in this case, what they don't have. Because the unfortunate reality is that people will always focus on what they don't have and what they lack, more so than being grateful for what they do have. And with that approach, it really helped me out, because the only friends and family I shared my business with were people I knew were actual potential clients, and people that I knew actually needed my product or service, or to be more specific, was actually struggling with the problem that I wanted to solve. That way they weren't just giving me BS, nice, happy, blow it up your butt answers because they're my friend. They were actually talking to me as somebody who had a problem that needed solving. And that ultimately is what you want to build your business off of. And that's also something that a lot of people don't actually spend the time to figure out. What problem are you actually solving for your clients? Because if you don't figure that out, well, then it's going to be a really, really tough time for anybody, whether it's you or me, in this world of business and entrepreneurship. And unfortunately, solving what that problem is and then taking the time to actually sit down and listen to people on what the ideal solution is, that takes time, and that's a lot of discomfortability. But that's why the number one rule is the number one rule, because the discomfort that you will feel today is so much less than the pain of regret. Like, I have mistakes in business that have costed me hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it sucked and it was painful. And I wish I would have done the discomfort a year beforehand, or even 6 months beforehand. That probably would have prevented the really painful and expensive mistakes that I made throughout my journey. Now, that being said, earlier I mentioned in this video that I have a video out that should be popping up somewhere in here where I outline the step-by-step, it's a much more technical approach on how I scaled multiple 7-figure companies. And obviously you could use the same process to scale 8-figure companies. If you guys want to go ahead and check it out, it is a more technical analysis on how I did it. Feel free to go ahead and check it out, and I'll see you guys in the next one.